ના નાની ને ખવડાવો ઇડલી ચાઇનીઝ સાઉથ ઇન્ડિયન હું એકલો ભાઈ એ તારું કેમ फ्राइड वालों में एक बाइट है नॉर्मल इडली आपको कमियों only one bite. कितनी जो है और bite करके ये आइडिया तो अच्छा ही है આપણે ફ્રાઈડ ઇડલી કરીએ છે સવારે એટલે કરીએ છે આ એકચ્યુઅલી તળે છે પાંચ કે ડિફરન્ટ એટલે સેમ લાઈક ફ્રેન્ચ ફ્રાઈસ પેલામાં આપણે તડકો આપીએ છે કાજુ ચાઇનીઝ ફ્રેન્ચ ફ્રાઈસ બટ ગુડ ટેસ્ટી ન્યુ કન્સેપ્ટ પેરી પેરી મસાલો નાખી દીધો લિટરલી એને જે ફ્રાઈ કરી હા સાડી આવ ના દીધા અચુને આપણે અચુતમ ફ્રૂટમ જઈશું અમે જે કહીએ એ જ ખાવાનું ये पता नहीं ये आपको थोड़ा लग रहा है ये वाला शेजवान सॉस में ये टेस्ट नहीं किया ऑलमोस्ट लाइक फिट करनी हाँ बेबी कितनी या बे पनीर हाँ ये तो दिखाता है oh love you Ashka, finish your food. For 45,000. ग्लास बता नीचे पड़ी ग्लास क्या चाहिए कुछ खा लो कौन आगे सब તારે એડવાન્સમાં કહેવાનું બનાવી રાખો 20 મિનિટ પછી લાવજો તમે છે ઈ પોડી દાદા દેજા પછી चलो सीधी बैठो So they ask Capella if you want to add anything. No? Aju. If you don't feel it, don't eat it. I can. एक स्पून खाई जो बेटा વઘાર કરવા ના પાડી હોય તે તો વઘારમાં ટેસ્ટ આવ્યો પણ આ તો સંતુષ્ટ પ્લેન રાઈસ ખાવું છે તને જે ભાવે વોટ આર યોર ગેમ તારો તામી ફૂડ છે તે ખાવ બધું કરીને ડાયરેક્ટ હતું તો ફૂડ મને મુરગન મુરગન कुछ तो नहीं है ना बहुत भावे છે તો ડિફરન્ટ પેલું अच्छा दुकान पे फ्रूट के अंदर आइसक्रीम है ओह फिफ्टी टाइप्स fruit is the ice cream. The fruit is the ice cream. Frozen fruits still. Strawberry. તાર બીજું કઈ મંગાવવાનું છે તો મંગાવી લે તમને બનાના છે ત્યાં જશે ને સુતમ ફ્રૂટ એ સેફેસ્ટ પેટ છે કારણ કે નેચરલ છે ઓલ નેચરલ છે ના નેચરલ આઈ થિંક કે જોજો ને તમે એ આઈડિયા બહુ મસ્ત છે ઇન્ડિયન કંપની ઇન્ડિયન કંપની હા ना पूछने KFC पॉपकॉर्न आना 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 KFC पॉपकॉर्न 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 KFC वालों इनमें ये सब चुप चाचो આવું જ હતું નિપાણીમાં બીમાર પડી હતી આખી તો બીજું કશું નતું ટક્યું એરપોર્ટમાં એક હતું એ ટક્યું અમે નિપાણીથી ફ્લાઇટ પકડીને આવ્યા ભાઈ જેમ કે એટલો ચડાવતો આવ્યો કાર ઓ શું વાત છે ભૂત નતો એક્ઝેક્ટ આવી આવે અને જેવું એરપોર્ટ પહોંચી ફોનમાં ઠીક કોણ ખબર બે વાર વોમિટ કરીએ ને હજી બરોડા આવી એક ફીલ એક ટેસ્ટ આપો ચાલો નોટ પોસિબલ દુકાનીમાં છે કે ઓકે શું अब दूर से थोड़ा तो हाईवे पर नहीं खोलता बोलो हाईवे में नहीं खोलता आखो कॉम्प्लेक्स अच्छा ये में એવું ખુલ્યું છે હા તો બહુ નજીક છે 20 મિનિટ લાગે but better at least you get some good quality it's a very good place KFC McD I don't know. वो तो है ना वो
This size. I slice two more.
ये तो खाए तो खाई ले मुझे अच्छा दे देता वो खाई ले पेट तो भरेगी खाना और पकड़े मैं कहीं तो ना पहले
મામા માટે દવા સમજી ને દવા સમજી ને
દર વખત નું શું નાટક છે હવે તો રસમ જવું જોઈએ પેટમાં કશું નહીં રસમ જેવી કોઈ વસ્તુ નહીં કશું હોય નહીં આમાં સ્પાઇસીસ ફૂલ ઓફ સ્પાઇસીસ યાર મસ્ત બનાવે તો સાઉથ બાઉથ તો બધું પાણી ગયું આના 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 he will not શું વસ્તુ છે પાણીથી થતું હોય કોઈ દિવસ ઉલટી આનાથી અંદર ગરમાહટ લાગશે તને સારું ઉટીનું મસ્ત હતું યાર
સ્કૂલમાં તો ચાલો પછી મળ્યું નથી નહીં અમે એકચ્યુઅલી જોડે કરવા આવ્યા એ લોકો એક હોમસ્ટે માં રહ્યા હતા તો એ હોમસ્ટે ના કુકે બનાવી ઓ માય ગોડ
અલગ જ દુનિયા નહોતી આનો શું હવે હસી વાત થાય છે હસી હર્ષિલ ખબર નહીં હું કરે તે વાત કરી છે મંડેના જઈને જોઉં મંડેના મારો આનંદ જ છે વચ્ચે જયારે પણ આનંદ જતો ને તો મળી જતો હતો પણ એ આજે ઊંઘતા હોય કે વરસાદ એનું આખું ઊંધું છે રાતના એટલે દિવસમાં સુવાનું મારું બી મેં હેક્ટિક કરી દીધું ને સવારે બોરસદ જવું પછી સાંજે આનંદ પતાવીને જવું એટલે સારું છે ને હેક્ટિક તો હવે થઈ ગયો ટાઈમ શિવરણ ચાવે લઈ લીધી લઈ લીધી ડેન્ટિસ્ટ એટલું બધા થઈ ગયા છે અરે જોવો તો ખરા ક્યાં છે કોમ્પ્લેક્સ ડેન્ટિસ્ટ જો સામે આપણે ત્યાં ટેરેસમાંથી બી દેખાય છે ડોક્ટર દીકરી રૂટી ઉપરમાં ત્યાં જવાનું સાઉથમાં બિસ્કીટ સાથે પીએ હા
પણ મામા કીધું મને શોખ લાગી ગયો હતો
હા they like this સારું લાગે ને પણ આના રસમ આપે તમને ગ્લાસમાં 60 ml મળે અરે ટિપ છે તો બાકી કોઈ ખાવાના માટે ઝઘડો નહીં થાય મારે તેમાં
પાપડ છોડી
સાઉથ ઇન્ડિયનમાં ખાય લક્ષ્મી પ્રકાશ મંત્રી સેલમ
તો નોસ્ટાલ્જિયા મને તેલમ
Oh, they settled there. They were local. Local. So, yeah, શું ઓર્ડર કર્યું ફિલ્ટર કોફી કરી એને जो ठंडी आओ तो गरम ना गरम गरम तो मुझसे प्यार करते कि नहीं करते गजब बिजी છે ને ફોનમાં આવ્યો તો અરે
હવે 3 મહિના પછી ફોન મળે તો કેવો
10 કલાક પછી ફોન નહીં હોય અચ્છા એનો પર ફોન જ નહીં હોતો ને એની પાસે ઓકે ટિલ ટુમોરો એટલે ફોનમાં છે 5 o'clock પછી હેન્ડ ઓવર તો એને કોન્ટેક્ટ કેવી રીતે કરવાનો સન્ડે એ લોકોનું કોલ
તને કેવી રીતના કોન્ટેક્ટ કરતા હતા હોસ્ટેલમાં
સન્ડે ટુ સન્ડે એ લોકોનો જે કોન્સેપ્ટ હા ત્યાંથી ફોન કરાય એવું
પણ એને આઈ થિંક વચ્ચે મળે છે ઘણી વાર ફોન બીકોઝ સ્પોર્ટ સેક્રેટરી કે છે
તો પછી કશો એને બધું વાત
એટલે વચ્ચે ફોન મળે છે
અને ઓનલાઈન માં છોકરી પ્રેમ આવી જાય
બંગાળી છે એનો
વોર્ડન
બંગાળી તો આવડતો હશે ને?
આખું આના
તમારે સ્ટેટ લેંગ્વેજ લર્ન કરવી બધું કમ્પલસરી મારા સોસાયટીમાં બહુ બધા નોન છે
હા
તો એ લોકો બધા થાય कैसे पढ़ाते पहले हमको पढ़ाओ तो हम पढ़ाए
બહુ અઘરું કર્યું પણ કમ્પલસરી કરી
એ લોકોની એક્ઝામ્સ નથી હોતી પાસ ફેલ નથી હોતું તે જસ્ટ તો તમે જ્યાં રહો છો એની લેંગ્વેજ તમને આવડે તો
ઓલરેડી કરું એટલે તમને 6 આવડે છે બેંગોલી આટે એટલે આવે લખું
બેંગોલ ક્યાં આવડે બેંગોલી ક્યાં આવડે
મને
ચાર બોલીને
એ કહે છે 6 આવડે છે મેં કીધું મને 4 આવડે
સર્વાઈવલ જેટલું આવડે
they have all proportionated that problem Tamil Nadu Maharashtra they should speak our language
સ્કૂલમાં શીખવાનું that's fine but this compulsion is a little
who gets US પકડાયો
ચાલુ નથી
હજુ ચાલુ નહીં થયું ટ્રમ્પ આવશે હમણાં પ્રેસ કોન્ફરન્સ કરવા
કોન્ફરન્સ કરવા પકડે તો ગયા ને બેવ
that is what US is saying
અચ્છા ઓ
વેનેઝુએલા રે બહુ કઈ એક જ નથી વેનેઝુએલા hasn't confirmed
confirm neither confirmed not denied બધે જ ચાલી રહ્યું ના અત્યારે યુએઈ ચાલી રહ્યું છે આપણે તો આ આ બધું એક્ઝેક્ટ ડેટ આને જ કર્યું છે આટલું બધું નતું
હા
કેટલીક જગ્યાએ Illuminati. એમને બસ conspiracy theory. શીખવું લાગે મને. બંદાની કોણ છે એને કમેન્ટ કર્યું આગ લગાવી દીધી How stupid are these Americans, yaar? It was in
Appreciate you being here. We appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today. Late last night, at my direction, and early today, the United States, at my direction, armed forces, the United States conducted an extraordinary military operation. Conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela. Military power, air, land, and sea. Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea was used to launch. And it was a spectacular assault. Like not seen since. And it was an assault World like War people II. Have not seen since World War II. Against a heavily fortified military fortress. A force against a heavily fortified military fortress to bring in the heart of Caracas. Nicolas Maduro to justice. To bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. Stunning. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some attack on other good ones like the attack on Soleimani, attack on al-Baghdadi, the attack on al-Baghdadi, obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites, obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites in an operation just recently, Midnight Hammer, in an operation known as Midnight Hammer, executed and done. All no nation executed in the world could achieve what America achieved. In the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. Military capacities all Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military working with U.S. law enforcement Maduro in the dead of night successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was lights dark. Caracas were largely turned off. Lights of Caracas were largely turned off. Expertise that we due to a certain expertise that we and it was deadly. It was dark, but captured along with his wife. But captured along with his wife Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Both of whom Maduro now face American justice. Indicted in the Southern District. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. Their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States. Their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight. Precision and competence. With breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You've seen some raids in this country. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. Afghanistan. Were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to they were different days. The Jimmy Carter days. Respected country again. They were different days. Like never before. Respected country again, like these highly trained warriors operating in collaboration. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement. Very ready position. They were waiting for us. Them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. In the sea, so they were in a ready, sort of waiting. What's called a ready position. So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. Last night, you would have been very impressed. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but not a single American service member was killed. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many in that fight. Many people involved in that fight. Equipment was lost. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was more importantly killed. And the United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can we have the best equipment anywhere in the world. Scarcely begin to imagine we have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no
Even if you
equipment
just
like
look
what
at the
we
boats,
have. And you
we've
see that
knocked out 97%.
even if you just look at the boats, we've
drugs
knocked out
coming in by sea.
97% of the
90%.
drugs
Each boat
coming in
kills
by sea.
25 on average, 25,000
90%.
people.
Each boat kills
We knocked
25
out
on average,
97%.
25,000 people. We knocked out
Those drugs
97%.
mostly come from a place called Venezuela.
And those drugs mostly come from.
We're going to
place
run
called
the country
Venezuela.
until such time
We're going to
as we
run
can
the
do a
country
safe,
until such
proper,
time
and judicious
as we can do a safe,
transition. So
proper, and
we
judicious
don't want to be involved
transition. So
having somebody
we don't
else
want
get
to
in.
be involved
We
with
have the same situation
having
that
somebody
we had
else
for the
get
last
in,
long
and we have
period of
the
years.
same situation that we
So
had
we
for
are
the
going
last
to run
long
the country
period of years.
until such time
So
as
we are
can do
going
a
to run the
safe,
country
proper, and
until such
judicious
time as we can do a safe,
transition.
proper,
And it
and
has to be
judicious
judicious.
transition. And it has
That's
to
what
be
we're all about.
judicious.
We want peace,
'Cause that's what
liberty,
we're
and
all
justice for the great
We
people
want peace,
of Venezuela.
liberty, and justice for
That
the great
includes
people
many
of
from
Venezuela.
Venezuela that are now living
And that
in the
includes
United
many
States
from
and
Venezuela
want to
that
go
are now
back to
living in the
their
United States
country. It's their
and want
homeland.
to go back to their.
We can't
country.
take a
It's
chance
their
that somebody
homeland.
else takes over Venezuela.
We can't
that
take a chance
doesn't
that
have the
somebody
good of
else
the
takes over
Venezuelan people in
Venezuela
mind.
that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in
Decades of
mind.
that. We're not going to let that happen.
Decades of that. We're not
We're
going to let
there
that
now,
happen.
And what people don't understand,
We're there
they
now,
understand as I
and
say
what
this,
people don't understand,
we're
but
there
they understand
now,
as I
but
say
we're
this. We're there
going
now.
to stay until
but
such
we're
time as the proper transition.
going to stay until such time
can
as
take
the
place. So we're gonna
proper
stay until such
transition
time as we're going to
can
run it
take place.
essentially
So we're going to
until such
stay
time
until
as a
such time as we're
proper
going to run it
transition can
essentially
take
until
place.
such time as a
As
proper
everyone knows,
transition
the oil
can take
business in
place.
Venezuela has been a bust.
As
a
everyone
total
knows,
bust
the oil business
for a
in
long period of
Venezuela has
time.
been a bust, a total bust.
They were
for a long
pumping
period of
almost
time.
nothing by comparison to what they could.
They were pumping almost nothing
been
by
pumping,
comparison to what they
what could have taken place.
have been pumping.
We're going
what
to
could have
have
taken
our
place.
very large.
We're
United
going to
States
have
oil
our
companies,
very
the biggest
large
anywhere in the
United
world,
States oil
go
companies,
in,
the biggest
spend
anywhere in
billions
the
of
world,
dollars, fix
go
the
in,
badly broken
spend billions of
infrastructure,
dollars,
the oil
fix the
infrastructure,
badly broken
and
infrastructure,
start making money
the oil
for the
infrastructure,
country.
and start making money for the country.
Ready to stage
And
a
we are
second and much larger attack if
ready to stage a second
we
and
need
much
to do
larger
so.
attack.
So we
if
were prepared to do
we
a
need to
second
do
wave.
so. So we were prepared to
If
do a second wave.
we needed to do so. We actually
If
assumed that a second wave would
We needed to
be
do so.
necessary.
We
but
actually
now it's
assumed that a
probably
second
not.
wave would
The
be
first
necessary, but now
wave,
it's
if you'd like
probably
to
not.
call it that. The first
The
attack
first
was so successful.
wave,
we
if you'd
probably
like to
don't
call
have
it
to do a
that.
second,
The
but
first
we're prepared
attack was
to
so
do
successful,
a
we
second
probably don't
wave.
have to do a
A
second.
much bigger
but
wave,
We're prepared to
actually.
do a second wave,
This
a
was
much bigger
pinpoint,
wave.
but we have a
Actually,
much bigger wave that
this was pinpoint, but
Probably
we have
won't
a
have
much
to
bigger
do.
wave that
this partnership of
Probably
Venezuela
won't
with the
have to
United
do.
States of America,
this
a country
partnership
that
of Venezuela
everybody
with the
wants
United States
to
of
be
America, a
involved
country
with
that
because of
everybody wants
what we
to
were
be
able to do and
involved with
accomplish
because of
will make the people
what we were
of
able to do and
Venezuela
accomplish.
rich,
Will make
independent,
the
and
people
safe.
of Venezuela
And it will
rich,
also make
independent,
the many,
and
many
safe.
people
And it will also
from
make
Venezuela
the
that are
many,
living
many
in the
people
United States extremely
from Venezuela
happy. They
that are living
suffered.
in the United
They
States
suffered.
extremely
So much was
happy.
taken
They
from them.
suffered.
They're not
They
going to
suffered.
suffer anymore.
So much was taken from them.
The
They're not
illegitimate
going to suffer
dictator
anymore.
Maduro was the kingpin of a
The
vast criminal
illegitimate
network
dictator
responsible
Maduro
for
was the
trafficking
kingpin of a vast
colossal
criminal
amounts
network
of
responsible for
deadly and illicit
trafficking
drugs into
colossal
the United
amounts
States.
of deadly and
As
illicit
alleged
drugs
in
into the United
indictment,
States.
He personally
As
oversaw
alleged
the
in
vicious
the
cartel
indictment,
known as
he personally
Cartel
oversaw the vicious
de las
cartel known
Solas,
as
which
Cartel,
flooded our nation
de las
with
Solas,
lethal poison, responsible
which flooded
for the
our
deaths
nation
of
with
countless
lethal poison,
Americans,
responsible
many,
for the
many
deaths
Americans,
of
hundreds,
countless Americans,
thousands over the
many,
years
many
died
Americans,
because
hundreds,
of him.
thousands over the
Maduro
years
and
of
his wife will
Americans
soon
died because of
face
him.
the full
Maduro
might
and
of
his wife will
American
soon
justice and
face
stand
the
trial
full
on
might
American
of American
soil.
justice and stand trial
Right now, they're
on American
on
soil.
a ship they'll be heading to ultimately
now they're
New York.
On a ship they'll be
And then
heading
a
to
decision will be
ultimately
made,
New York,
soon between New York
and then a decision will be made
Miami
soon
and
between
Florida.
New York and Miami
have,
and Florida.
people where
we have,
overwhelming evidence of their crimes
People
will
where the overwhelming
presented in a
evidence
court
of
of
their
law.
crimes will be
be and
presented in a court of law.
I've seen what we have.
And
is,
I've seen it. I've
It's
seen
both
what we
horrible
have.
and
It's,
breathtaking that something like this could have.
It's both
been allowed to
horrible
take
and
place.
breathtaking that something
For many
like this
years
could have
after his
been allowed to take
term
place.
as president
For
of
many years
Venezuela
after his
expired,
term
Maduro
as president of
remained
Venezuela
in power
expired,
and
Maduro
waged a ceaseless
remained in
campaign of
power
violence,
and
terror,
waged a
and
ceaseless
subversion
campaign
against
of
the United
violence,
States of
terror,
America,
and
threatening
subversion
not only
against the
our people,
United States
but the
of
stability
America,
of the
threatening
entire
not only
region.
our people,
And you also
but
saw,
the
in
stability
addition
of the
to
entire
trafficking
region.
gigantic amounts of
You also,
illegal
in
drugs,
addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of
inflicted
illegal
untold
drugs,
suffering and human destruction
inflicted
all over
untold
the
suffering
country, all
and
over,
human
particularly the
destruction
United
all over the
States.
country,
Maduro
all over
sent
in
savage
particular
and
the
murderous
United
gangs,
States.
including the
Maduro
bloodthirsty
sent
prison
savage
gangs,
and murderous gangs,
de
including
Aragua,
the bloodthirsty prison
terrorize
gang,
American
Tren
communities
de Aragua,
nationwide, and he did
to
indeed.
terrorize
They
American
were in
communities
Colorado, they took
nationwide,
over
and he did indeed.
apartment
They
complexes.
were in Colorado,
They
they
cut the
took over
fingers off people if they call
apartment
police.
complexes. They cut
They
the
were
fingers
brutal.
off people if they call police.
But they're not so brutal
They
now.
were brutal.
And I just have to
They're not so brutal now.
congratulate our military,
And I
Pete,
just have
and
to
everybody, and our
Congratulate
National
our
Guard.
military,
It's
Pete,
a
and
job
everybody,
that they've
and
done,
our
whether it's in
National Guard.
Washington, D.C., where we have
It's
a
a job
totally
that they've
safe
done, whether it's in
city,
Washington,
where it was
D.C.,
one
where
of
we
the
have a
most
totally
unsafe
safe
cities
city, where it was
anywhere
one of
in
the
the world,
most
frankly.
unsafe
And now we have
cities
no crime
anywhere in the
Washington,
world,
D.C.
frankly. And now we have
haven't
no
had
crime in
killing,
Washington,
we had the
D.C.
terrorist
We haven't
attack
had
a few
a
weeks
killing. We
ago.
had the terrorist
a
attack
little bit
a
of a
few weeks
different
ago.
kind of a threat.
A little bit of a
But
different
we
kind
haven't
of
had a killing in
a threat.
a long period of
But
time.
we
6,
haven't
7
had a
months.
killing
We used to
in
have two
a long period
On
of time,
average,
6,
two a
7
week.
months. We used to have
in
two
Washington, our capital.
on average,
Not
2 a
that
week
anymore.
in Washington,
Restaurants
our
are
capital.
opening,
We don't
everyone's
have that
happy.
anymore.
They're going, they're walking.
Restaurants
their
are
daughters,
opening,
they're walking
everyone's
their
happy. They're
children,
going, they're
their
walking their
wives,
daughters, they're
walking
walking their
Restaurants,
children,
restaurants
their
are opening
wives,
all
they
over
walk to
Washington, D.C.
restaurants
So I
are
wanna
opening
thank the
all over
National Guard. I
Washington,
want to thank our
D.C.
military, and I want to thank
So I want
law
to thank the
enforcement.
National Guard. I want to thank
Amazing.
our military, and I want to
They
thank
should
law
do it with more
enforcement.
cities.
It's
We're
been
doing it, as
amazing.
you know, in
And they should do it
Please
with
be a
more
smart
cities. We're doing it, as you
Memphis,
know, in
Tennessee, right now, and crime is
we're
down.
doing it in
Just
Memphis,
sort of
Tennessee,
started
right now, and
4
crime
weeks
is
ago.
down.
Crime is down now 77%.
Just sort of
No,
started
in
a
applying
few weeks
basic
ago,
common.
but crime is down now
Decisions
77%.
for
The governor of
60 years will be
Louisiana called.
And
Person.
the governor of
cry and
Louisiana
He wanted
called,
us to help him, as you know.
person,
A certain
and
very
he wanted us to
nice
help him, as you
part
know,
of
a certain very
Louisiana.
nice part
And we
of
have
Don't be
done
like the
that.
ones
It's
who
a
had
rough-
Louisiana.
it's a rough-
6 hours.
and we have
What
done
is it
that.
that
It's a
we
rough. It was a
crime
rough
down. I understand
rough
it's down to
section, and
almost
we
nothing
have
already after
climbed down. I
2
understand it's down to almost
New
nothing
Orleans.
already after
It's down to
2.5
almost
weeks.
nothing.
New
And we've only
Orleans,
been there for
it's down to
2.5
almost
weeks.
nothing.
Can't imagine why
And we've only
governors
been
would
there
want
for
us to help.
2.5 weeks.
We also
Can't imagine
helped,
why
as you know,
governors
in
wouldn't want us to help.
I don't want to use
We
that
also
phrase.
helped, as you know,
we did
in
a very small
Chicago,
help because
when
we had
crime
no-
went down a little
no,
bit there. We did a very small help because we had no
working ability with the governor. The
we
governor
had
was
no
a disaster, and the mayor was a
working
disaster,
ability
but
with the
it
governor. The
knocked down
governor was a
crime, but we're
disaster,
pulling
and the
out of
mayor was a
there when-
disaster.
when
But
they need us,
it knocked down
we'll
crime.
know.
But we're pulling out
You'll
of there
know. You'll be writing
when they
about
need
it.
us. We'll know.
And likewise,
You'll
Los
know.
Angeles,
You'll be
where
writing
we
about it.
saved Los Angeles early
And
on.
likewise, Los Angeles,
the
where we saved Los
head of
Angeles early
the
on.
police department made a
where the
statement that if
head
the
of
federal
the
government
police
didn't come in,
department
we
made
would
a
have
statement that
lost Los Angeles.
if the federal
That's
government
after-
didn't come
long
in, we
after
would
the
have
fires.
lost Los Angeles.
That's when they had the
That's
riots in
after,
Los
long
Angeles. We
after
did a
the
great job.
fires.
Got no credit for it
That's when they had the
whatsoever, but
riots
that's
in Los
okay.
Angeles. We
Doesn't
did a
matter.
great
don't
job.
need
Got
to
no
do that.
credit for it whatsoever, but that's
So
okay.
we'll be
Doesn't
pulling
matter.
out
We don't
when they
need to-
need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if
But
we
we'll
have
be
to.
pulling out when
We'll
they
go
need
back.
us. They'll call, or we'll
But
go
we did a
back
great
if we
job
have
in
to. We'll
various
go back.
cities.
But
The
we did a
thing-
great
the
job
place that
in
we're very proud
various
of is
cities.
Washington, D.C., 'cause
But the
it's our
thing, the
nation's
place that
capital.
we're
We
very
took it
proud of
from
is Washington,
being a
D.C., because it's our
crime-ridden
nation's
mess
capital. We
to
took it
being,
from
one of the
being a
safest cities in the
crime-ridden
country.
mess to being
But the
one of
gangs
the
that
safest cities in the
They
country.
sent, raped,
But the gangs
tortured,
that
and murdered American
they sent
women and
raped,
children. They were in all
tortured,
of
and
the
murdered
cities I
American
mentioned.
women and
Tren de
children.
Aragua.
They were in all of the cities I
They
mentioned.
were sent
Tren
by
de Aragua.
Maduro to
And
terrorize
they
our
were
people.
sent
and now
by
Maduro
Maduro
will never
to terrorize
again
our
be
people,
able
and now
to
Maduro
threaten
will
an
never
citizen
again
or
be able to
anybody
threaten
from
an
Venezuela.
American
There will
citizen
no
or
longer be threats.
anybody
For
from
years I've
Venezuela. There
highlighted
will
the
no longer
stories
be
of those
threats.
innocent
For
Americans
years,
whose
I've
lives
highlighted the stories of those
were
innocent
so
Americans whose
heartlessly
lives
robbed by this Venezuelan
were so
terrorist
heartlessly
organization.
robbed by this
Really
Venezuelan
one of the worst. They say
terrorist
the worst.
organization. Really one of the
Americans
worst.
like
One of the worst. They say
12-year-old
the worst.
Jocelyn Nungary
Americans
from
like
Houston.
12-year-old
Beautiful
Jocelyn
Nungary,
Nungary
what
from
happened to
Houston.
her?
Beautiful Jocelyn Nungary, what happened to her?
They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered
They, as you
by
know, they
Tren de
kidnapped,
Aragua
assaulted, and murdered
animals.
by
They
Tren
murdered
de
Jocelyn.
Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn.
Left her dead under the bridge.
And-
It was a bridge.
Left her dead under the
Bridge
bridge.
that
It
will
was a bridge.
Never be the same to so many people
bridge
after
that
seeing
will
what happened.
Never be the
As
same
I've
to
said
so many
times,
people after
the
seeing
Maduro
what
regime
happened.
emptied out their
As I've
prisons,
said many times,
sent
the
their
Maduro
worst,
regime
most
emptied
violent
out their
monsters
prisons,
into the United
sent
States
their worst and most
steal
violent
American
monsters
lives.
into the United States
And they came
to
from
steal American lives.
mental institutions and
And,
insane
they came
asylums.
from
They came from
mental
prisons and
institutions and
jails.
insane
The
asylums.
reason
They
I
came
say
from
both, they sound similar,
prisons and
actually,
jails. The reason I say both, they
Little bit
sound
more.
similar. Actually, prisons,
A little bit more hostile,
a little bit more,
tougher. A
a little bit
mental
more hostile, a
institution
little bit
isn't as
tougher.
tough as an insane
A
asylum.
Mental institution
We
isn't
got
as
them
tough
both.
as an
They sent
insane
from their
asylum.
mental institutions, they sent
We
from
got
their
them
jails,
both. They
prisons.
sent from their mental
were drug
institutions.
dealers.
They sent from their
They were
jails,
drug
prisons.
kingpins. They
They
sent
were drug
everybody
dealers.
bad into the
They were
United
drug
States.
kingpins. They sent everybody
No longer.
bad into
And
the
we have
United
now
States.
a border where nobody gets
But no
through.
longer. And we have
addition,
now a border
Venezuela,
where nobody gets through.
Unilaterally
In addition,
seized and
Venezuela,
stole American oil,
Unilaterally
American
seized
assets,
and stole American oil,
platforms,
American
costing us
assets and American
billions
platforms,
and billions of dollars.
costing us
They
billions
did this a
and
while
billions
ago,
of
but we never had a
dollars.
president that did anything
They
about
did
it.
this
They
a
took
while
all
ago,
of
but
our
we never had a
property.
president that did anything
our
about it.
property.
They took all
We
of our
built it.
property. It was our
And,
property.
we never had a
We built
president
it.
that decided to do anything
And
about it.
we never
Instead,
had a
they fought
president
wars
that
were
decided to do anything about it.
10,000 miles
Instead, they
away.
fought wars that were
We built Venezuela.
10,000 miles away.
Oil industry with American
built
talent,
Venezuela,
drive, and skill.
oil industry
And
with
the
American
socialist
talent,
regime
drive, and skill.
Stole it from us.
And the
during those
socialist
previous
regime stole it from us
administrations,
during
and they
those
stole it through
previous
force. This
administrations,
constituted
and they
one of the
stole it through
largest thefts
force.
Of American property
This
in the history of our
constituted one of the
country.
largest thefts of
Considered the
American
largest
property
theft
in the
of
history of our
property in the
country.
history of our country.
Considered the largest
Massive
theft
oil
of property in the
infrastructure
history
was
of our
taken
country.
like we were babies, so we didn't do
Massive
anything
oil
about it.
infrastructure was
I
taken like
would've
we were
done
babies, so
something
we didn't
about
do
it.
anything about it.
America will never
I would've
allow
done
foreign
something about
powers
it.
to rob our people.
America will never
drive
allow
us
foreign
back into
powers to rob our people or
and
drive
out
us
of
back
our own
into
hemisphere. That's what they did.
and out of our own
Furthermore, under the
hemisphere. That's
now
what they
deposed
did.
dictator Maduro, Venezuela.
Furthermore,
was
under the now
increasingly hosting
deposed
foreign
dictator Maduro,
adversaries in our
Venezuela
region
was increasingly
and
hosting
acquiring
foreign
menacing
adversaries in
offensive
our
weapons
region
that could threaten U.S.
and acquiring menacing
interests and lives. And
offensive
they used
weapons
those
that could
weapons
threaten
last
U.S. interests
They
and
used
lives.
those
And they used
weapons
those
last night.
weapons last night.
Potentially in league
They
with
used
the
those
cartels
weapons last
operating
night.
along our border.
Potentially in league
All
with
of
the
these
cartels
actions were in
operating
gross
along our border.
violation of the
All
core
of these
principles
actions
of
were in
American
gross
foreign
violation
policy,
of the
dating
core
back more than
principles of
2
American
centuries.
foreign policy,
And,
dating back more than 2
not anymore.
centuries. And
All the way back, it
not
dated
anymore.
to the Monroe
All the way
doctrines.
back, it dated to the
And the
Monroe
Doctrine
doctrines.
is a big deal.
And the
But we've
Monroe Doctrine
superseded
is
it by a
a
lot.
big deal. But we've
By a real
superseded it by a lot.
They now call it the Donroe
By a real
document.
lot.
I don't know.
They now call it the Donroe Document. I don't
Monroe
know.
Doctrine.
It's,
We sort of forgot about it.
Monroe
Very
Doctrine.
important, but we forgot about it.
we
don't
sort of
forget
forgot about it.
anymore.
It's
Under
very important, but we
our new
forgot about it.
national
We don't
security
forget about it
strategy,
anymore.
American
Under
dominance
our new
in the
national
Western
security
Hemisphere
strategy, American
will never be
dominance
questioned
in the
again.
Western
Won't
Hemisphere
happen.
will never be
So
questioned
just in
again.
concluding, for
Won't
decades,
happen.
other administrations have
So just in
neglected or
concluding,
even
for decades, other administrations
to
have
these
neglected
growing
or even
security threats in the Western
contributed to
Hemisphere.
these growing
Under the
security
Trump
threats in the Western Hemisphere.
We are reasserting
Under
American
the Trump
power in a very
administration,
powerful way.
we are reasserting American
our
power
home
in a very
region.
powerful way.
And our home region
In
is
our
very
home region.
different than it was
And our
just a
home
short
region
while
is
ago.
very
The future
different
will
than
be,
it
and
was
we did this in my first
just a
term.
short while
We
ago.
had
The
great
future will
dominance
be,
in
and
our
we
first
did this
term,
in my
and
first term. We
have,
had great dominance
far
in my
greater
first term,
dominance
and
right now.
we
Everyone's
have
coming back
far
to
greater
us.
dominance
The
right
future
now.
will be determined
Everyone's
by the
coming
ability
back to
to
us. The future will be
protect
determined by
commerce
the
and
ability
territory and
to
resources that are
protect
core
commerce
to
and
national
territory and
security.
resources
These
that
are
are
core
core
to
to
our
national
security.
security. These are core to
Just like tariffs
our
are-
national security.
They've made our country rich.
Just like tariffs
and
are,
they've made our national
they've made our country
security
rich,
strong,
and
stronger
they've
than ever
made our
before.
national security
But
strong,
these are the iron
stronger
laws
than
that
ever
have
before.
always determined global
But these
power.
are the iron laws that have always
And,
determined global
We're going to
power.
keep it that way. We will
and
secure our borders.
We're going to
We
keep
will
it that
stop
way.
the
We will
terrorists. We will
secure our
crash
borders.
the
We will stop
cartels,
the
and we will
terrorists. We
defend
will
our
crash
citizens
the
against all
cartels,
threats,
and we will
foreign and
defend our
domestic.
citizens reasons
Other
against all
presidents may
threats,
have
foreign
lacked
and
the courage
domestic.
or whatever.
Other presidents
to
may have
defend
lacked the
America.
courage or
But I
whatever
will never allow
to
terrorists
defend
and criminals
America.
to operate
But I will
with
never
impunity
allow
against the
terrorists and
United
criminals
States.
to operate with
This
impunity
extremely
against the
successful
United
operation
States.
should serve as warning
This
to anyone
extremely
who
successful
would threaten
operation
American
should serve as
sovereignty or
warning to
endanger
anyone
American lives.
who would threaten American
Very
sovereignty or
importantly,
endanger
the
American
embargo on all
lives.
Venezuelan oil
Very
remains in
importantly,
full
the
effect.
embargo on all
The
Venezuelan
American
oil remains in full effect.
Armada remains
The
poised
American
in position.
Armada
And the United
remains
States
poised
retains all military
in position,
options until
and the United States
demands
retains all
have been
military
fully met
options until
and
United
fully
States
satisfied.
demands have been fully
all
met
political and military
and fully
figures in
satisfied.
Venezuela
All
should
political and
understand
military figures
what
in
happened to Maduro
Venezuela
can
should
happen to them,
understand
and it will happen
what
to
happened
them
to Maduro can happen
they
to them, and it will
just
happen to them
fair,
if they
even to
aren't
their people.
just
The
fair,
dictator and terrorist,
even to their
Maduro,
people. The
is
dictator
finally
and
gone
terrorist,
in Venezuela.
Maduro,
People are free.
is finally gone
Free
in
again.
Venezuela.
Been a
People
long
are
time
free.
for them, but they're
Free
free.
again.
America is
It's been a long time for them, but they're free.
This morning,
America is a
it's a
safer
prouder
nation.
nation this morning because
morning,
it didn't allow
It's a prouder
this
nation this morning because
horrible
it didn't
person in
allow
this country that was
this horrible
doing very
person
bad
in
things
this
to
country
us.
that was
it didn't allow it
doing
to
very
happen.
bad things to
And
us.
the Western Hemisphere
It
is
didn't
right
allow
now a
it to
much
happen.
safer
And the
place
Western
to be. So I
Hemisphere
want
is
to
right
thank
now a
everybody for
much
being here.
safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for
General
being here.
Raisin Kane, he's fantastic.
I want to thank
Man, I've worked
General
with a lot of
Raisin Kane.
generals.
He's
I
fantastic.
worked with some I didn't
Man,
like.
I've
I
worked with a
some
lot
I
of
didn't
generals.
respect.
I worked with some I
that
didn't
just
like.
weren't
I
good.
worked with some I didn't respect.
But this guy
I
is
worked with some
fantastic.
that just weren't
I
good.
watched last night one of the
This
most
guy is
precise
fantastic. I watched last night
attacks
one of the most precise
on sovereignty. I mean, it was an
attacks
attack for
on
justice.
sovereignty. I mean, it was
And I'm very
an
proud
attack
of him, and I'm very
for
proud
justice.
of our Secretary of War.
And I'm very
Pete
proud of him, and
Hegseth,
I'm
who
very
I'm gonna
proud
ask
of
to
our
say a few
Secretary of
words.
War,
Thank you
Pete
very much.
Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Finally, a commander-in-chief.
Well, thank you, Mr. President.
And the
Finally, a
American people
commander-in-chief the
deserve.
world
As the president
respects.
said, words
and the
can
American
barely
people
capture
deserve. And as the president
the
said,
bravery and the power
words
and
can
the
barely
precision
capture
of this historic
the
operation.
bravery
A
and the
massive
power
joint
and the
military and law
precision of this
enforcement
historic
raid
operation. A
flawlessly
massive joint
executed
military
by
and
the
law enforcement
greatest
raid
Americans
flawlessly
our country
executed
has
by
to
the
offer.
greatest Americans
American warriors
our
are
country
second to none.
has
The
to
best
offer.
in the world. And
American
the best
warriors are
of
second to
our
none.
country.
The best in the world
What
and the
all
best
of us witnessed
of our
last
country.
night was sheer guts.
What all of us
grit,
witnessed last night was
gallantry,
sheer guts
and glory
and
of the
grit,
American warrior.
gallantry,
I'm simply
and glory
humbled
of the American
by
warrior.
such man.
I'm
such
simply
man. And I tip my
humbled
hat to our
by
chairman,
such
Dan
man,
Raisin Kane,
such
and
man.
all
And I
those
tip my hat
Americans
to our chairman, Dan
who stood
Raisin
watch
Kane, and
last
all
night.
those
Our
Americans
warriors are the elite of
who
America.
stood
and
watch
again,
last night.
President
Our warriors
Trump
are the elite
has
of America,
your
and
back.
again, President Trump
No other country on
has
planet Earth, and
your
it's not
back.
even close.
No other country
could
on
pull
planet
this kind
Earth,
of
and it's
operation
not
off.
even
And no
close,
other president
could pull
has
this
ever
kind of
shown
operation
this kind
off.
of leadership,
and no other president
courage,
has ever
and
shown this
resolve.
kind
The
of
most
leadership,
powerful combination
courage,
the
and
world
resolve.
has
The most powerful
ever seen.
combination.
As the president
the world
said, our
has
adversaries
ever
remain on notice.
As the president
America
said,
can
our
project
adversaries
will
remain on
anywhere,
notice. America can
anytime.
project our will
The coordination,
anywhere,
the stealth, the lethality,
anytime.
the precision,
The coordination, the
very long
stealth,
arm
the
of American
lethality, the
justice,
precision,
all on full
the very
display
long arm
in
of
the
American
middle of the
justice,
night.
all on full display.
Nicolas Maduro
in the middle
had
of
his
the night.
chance.
Nicolas
Just like Iran
Maduro
had their chance.
had his chance,
Until they didn't.
just like
until
Iran
he
had their
didn't.
chance.
He effed
Until
around.
they didn't, and until he
He
didn't.
found out.
He effed around.
President Trump is deadly
found out.
serious about stopping the flow.
President
of
Trump
gangs
is
of violence
deadly
to our country.
serious about stopping
Deadly
the flow
serious
of gangs
about
and violence to our
stopping the
country.
flow of drugs. and
Deadly
poison
serious
to
about
our people.
stopping the
Deadly
flow of
serious
drugs
about
and
getting
poison
back the
to
oil
our
that was
people.
stolen
Deadly
from us.
serious was stolen
Reestablishing
from us.
American deterrence
And deadly
and
serious about
dominance in the Western
reestablishing
Hemisphere.
American deterrence
This is about the
and
safety,
dominance in the Western
security,
Hemisphere.
freedom.
This is about
and
the safety,
prosperity
security,
of the American people.
freedom, and prosperity
is
of
America
the American
first.
people.
This is peace
is
through
America
strength.
first.
And the United
This
States War Department
is peace through strength.
is proud
And the United
to help
States
deliver.
War Department
Welcome
is
to
proud
2026
to help deliver it.
and under President
Welcome to 2026. And under President Trump, America
Trump,
is back.
America.
I'd like
is
to welcome
back.
now our chairman,
I'd like to welcome
Raisin
now
Kane,
our chairman,
to give
Chairman
a few more
Raisin
details
Kane,
about the
to give
operation.
a few more details about the operation, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you,
and good morning.
Mr. President.
Last night, on the order of the President of the United States, and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, as the President said, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice two indicted persons, Nicolas and Cecilia Maduro. This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd, and was a culmination of months of planning and rehearsal, an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake. What I'd like to do this morning is talk you through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again. Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years of experience in hunting terrorists, and we could not have done this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA. We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years. Many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise, it involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination, all coming together in time and place to layer effects for a single purpose: to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining the element of tactical surprise. Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force. Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets. In early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. He was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel, so as the President said, they could be brought to justice. And as the President said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met and the President to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings, but when tasked with a mission, this organization does not quit. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern Time last night, the President ordered the United States military to move forward with this mission. He said to us, and we appreciated it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed. And those words were transmitted to the entire joint force. Over the course of the night, aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night. Thousands and thousands of hours of experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member was 49. And there's simply no match for American military might. As the night began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement officers, and began their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects provided by Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected from aircraft, were protected by aircraft from the United States Marines, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area. The goal of our air component was, and always will be, to protect the helicopters and the ground force and get them to the target and get them home. As the force crossed the last point of high terrain where they'd been hiding in the clutter, we assessed that we had maintained totally the element of surprise. As the helicopter force ingressed towards the objective at low level, we arrived at Maduro's compound at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:01 a.m. Caracas local time, and the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline towards their objective, and isolated the area to ensure the safety and security of the ground force while apprehending the indicted persons. On arrival into the target area, the helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force and self-defense. One of our aircraft was hit, but remained flyable, and as the President said earlier today, all of our aircraft came home, and that aircraft remained flyable during the rest of the mission. As the operation unfolded at the compound, our air and ground intelligence teams provided real-time updates to the ground force, ensuring those forces could safely navigate the complex environment without unnecessary risk. The force remained protected by overhead tactical aviation. Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, assisted by our incredible U.S. military with professionalism and precision, with no loss of U.S. life. After securing the indicted persons, the force began to prep for departure. Helicopters were called in to exfiltrate the extraction force, while fighter aircraft and remotely piloted aircraft provided overhead coverage and suppressive fire. There were multiple self-defense engagements as the force began to withdraw out of Venezuela. The force successfely exfiltrated and returned to their afloat launch bases, and the force was over the water at 3:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with indicted persons on board. And both Maduro and his wife were embarked aboard the USS Ujima. In closing, what we've witnessed today is a powerful demonstration of America's joint force. We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we debrief, we rehearse again and again, not to get it right, but to ensure that we cannot get it wrong. Our jobs are to integrate combat power so when the order comes, we can deliver overwhelming force at the time and the place of our choosing against any foe anywhere in the world. I am immensely proud today of our joint force and filled with gratitude to represent them here today. There is simply no mission too difficult for these incredible professionals and the families that stand by them and support them. As we stand here this morning, our forces remain in the region at a high state of readiness, prepared to project power, defend themselves, and our interests in the region. This operation is a testament to the dedication and unwavering commitment to justice and our resolve to hold accountable those who threaten peace and stability. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women who executed this mission. Their courage and tireless commitment to our nation are what makes us strong. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, Mr. President.
Well, I don't have much to add to what you've heard now, other than the following points. Nicolas Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States. He is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration, the second Trump administration, none of those three recognized him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we say $50 million. Which I guess we say $50 million. Yeah,
Nobody deserves it but us.
But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, he's going to do the confiscation of American oil companies, he's going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president, the 47th president of the United States, is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when he tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, you know, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States. And the president addressed it. There's a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now very happy. But instead he wanted to play big boy. So now, you know, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think that the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody. But don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office. Because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that, you know, I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Please. Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars. It'll be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but it's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have. But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, you know, they always say boots on the ground. We're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. Could have gone very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole we built that whole industry there. And they just took it over like we were nothing. We had a president that decided not to do anything about it. So we did something about it. We're late. We did something about it. Yeah, please. We did something about it. Yeah, please.
Mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S.
Yes, it's all being done right now. Designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
Would run Venezuela.
Well, it's largely going to be for a period of time. The people that are standing right behind me, we're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead. You know, I talk about a dead country. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. A country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there. A lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance at one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at and others. Look at fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also.
Rubio would be.
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Rubio to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela? Or how do you foresee the relationship going?
Well, she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. Just had a conversation with her. And she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple. Very simple.
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago he said he's got to watch his ass. And today he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So what your message is?
Well, he has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
Mr. President, did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of two indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
Plus, if I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result. But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point. A lot of ships out there, they sort of knew we were coming. We weren't. But Congress will leak. And we don't want leakers.
To watch this all play out live. What was Maduro playing out live when the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. You know, the safe places, all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast. And there was a lot of opposition. You know, people were wondering, do we get them by surprise? Some were surprised, but they were waiting for something. It was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today. But he was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up. seconds. We would have had the door about 47, I think 47 seconds, they say on average. 47 seconds. Regardless of how thick the steel was. Regardless of how thick it was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it. Go ahead, finish. Go ahead, finish.
In the time being right now, do you know his exact?
Well, eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held?
That's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes after.
Not with me, well, that's when we had different presidents. But with me, that's not true. Me, we've had a perfect track record of winning. We win a lot. And we win. If you look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was right now. You wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace in the Middle East because of that. You didn't, if we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So, with me, you've had a lot of victories. You've had only victories. You've had no losses. Yeah.
How long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you run Venezuela?
So I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. We're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. Infrastructure is rotted. It's actually very dangerous. It's blow-up territory. Oil is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. Can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing it. And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country. Yeah, we can take care of the country.
Are you saying that Secretary Rubio?
China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them?
Well, in terms of China and Russia, when we get things straightened out, but in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to get it. In other words, we'll be selling oil. Probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure is so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
Are you saying that, Mr. President?
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of Venezuela?
What is your message to the people of Venezuela? Justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time that was stolen from you. You're going to have peace and you're going to have safety. You're going to have justice. You're going to have a country. You're going to have a real country. You're going to have potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, it was a great country, and they destroyed it. Remember I said that if we lose this election, the United States will be Venezuela on steroids. That's what would have happened. Had we lost the election, 2024 election, we suffered so badly when you look at the border from 2020. What they did, what Joe Biden administration did to our country should never be forgotten. But if we had to go through another year of that, we wouldn't have. We would be exactly where Venezuela was. I used to say, if they win, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids. And that's what would happen.
President, thank you. Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela, and will you be sending U.S. military
We're going to be a team that's working with the people of Venezuela to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over. You have a vice president who's been appointed by Maduro, and right now she's the vice president, and she's, I guess, the president. She was sworn in as president a while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco, and she said, "We'll do whatever you need." I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice. We're going to have this done right. We're not going to just do this with Maduro, then leave like everybody else, leave and say, let it go to hell. If we just left, it has zero chance of ever coming back. We'll run it properly. We'll run it with money in Venezuela. And the biggest beneficiary are going to be the people of Venezuela. And also, I can't stress this strongly enough, the people that got thrown out of Venezuela, that are now in the world, go in and invest billions and billions of dollars and take out money, use that money in Venezuela And the biggest beneficiary are going to be the people of Venezuela. And also,
right now they're very
protected because nobody's going to mess with us. The people that got thrown out of Venezuela,
and we let them know that
are now in the United States. And frankly, some want to stay and some probably want to go back.
Bad elements of the Maduro regime will remain in place.
Well, we know who they are.
We're
on them. Well, right now they're very protected because nobody's going to mess with us. They're very protected. The people of, and we let them know that you better not touch one of them.
Are you concerned that bad elements
Well, I
of the
think
Maduro
it is
regime
because
will
we want to
remain in
surround
place?
ourselves with good neighbors. Well, we know who they surround ourselves with stability, and we want to surround they're ourselves acting much with differently energy. now than they would have acted 2 days ago. Okay, wait, behind you, please. We need that for ourselves. We need that for the world, and we want to make sure we can protect. Well, I think it is because we want to surround ourselves with good neighbors. We want to surround ourselves with stability. We want to surround ourselves with energy. We have tremendous energy in that country. It's very important that we protect it. We need that for ourselves. We need that for the world, and we want to make sure we can protect it. Cuba is going to be something we'll end up talking about because Cuba is a failing nation right now. Cuba is an interesting case. Cuba is, not doing very well right now. In the sense that we want to help that system has not been a very good one for Cuba. The people there have suffered for many, many years. And I think Cuba is going to be something we'll end up talking about because Cuba is a failing nation right now, very badly failing nation. And we want to help the people. It's very similar in the sense that we want to help the people in Cuba, but we want to also help the people that were forced out of Cuba and living in this country. Do you want to say something about that, Marco, please?
I just gave you a statement a few minutes ago about, when the president speaks, you should take him seriously. Suffice it to say, Cuba is all that were full of Cubans. It's run by it's amazing. This poor senile men and island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems the Venezuelans have is they have to declare independence from Cuba. And by the way, colonize it from a security standpoint. All the look, I lived in Havana and I was in the government. This is well known. Their whole spy agency, all that were full of Cubans. I mean, it's amazing. This poor island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems the Venezuelans have is they have to declare independence from Cuba. They tried to basically colonize it from a security standpoint. So, yeah, look, if I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned.
The answer is yes.
At least a little bit.
Yes.
Well, the president already announced a week ago that anything that's sanctioned, sanctioned oil, it's not going to be allowed. So that's a pre-existing.
It's coming out of the ground. We're going to get reimbursed for all of that. We're going to get reimbursed for everything that we spend. So it's going to be a very important. This is a very big evening that took place last night. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure countries, and we also have to have energy. Very important. We have to have energy that's real energy, not where they're getting 4% and 5% of the energy out of the ground. You take a look. It was such a disaster. So
they have to declare independence from Cuba. That's the basic.
It's going to be a very important. It's going to be a very important thing. This is a very big evening that took place last night. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure countries, and we also have to have energy. Very important. We have to have energy that's real energy, not where they're getting 4% and 5% of the energy out of the ground. You take a look. It was such a disaster. So
they have to declare independence from Cuba. That's the basic.
It's going to be a very important. It's going to be a very important thing. This is a very big evening that took place last night. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure countries, and we also have to have energy. Very important. We have to have energy that's real energy, not where they're getting 4% and 5%. I endorsed, as you know, the winning president